Upanishadaihi gayanti yam samagaha dhyanavastita tadgatena manasa pashyanti yam yoginah yasyantam na vidusura suraganaha devaya tasmai namah devaya tasmai namah. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahabhiryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidveshavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om. I welcome you all for this another session of Bhagavad Gita online from Arshavidya Gurukulam with the Hindu temple of Allentown, Pennsylvania. In this session, we will continue looking into the very important shloka, or at least a very popular shloka, which is what? 13th shloka of the 4th chapter. That is, we saw that briefly last session, last week. We'll get into some interesting details. So it sets in everyone's mind. It is clear in everyone's mind. That will be the effort, and we'll continue with the shlokas that follow. Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagashah tasya kartaram apimam vidya kartaram avyayam. So Bhagavan, even before this shloka, has assured every one of us that whatever we try to follow in terms of dharma, in terms of what is right, even without knowing the Shastra, Bhagavan said it is all falling in line with what I would want you to do. He's appreciating the effort, and it's saying you're still within my track. That Bhagavan said, right? And then he said, people want, I created all this infrastructure in terms of, vihita karma, what needs to be done and how you go about doing it and all that. And amongst that, people choose those karma which naturally give them quick results. They want pratyaksha phala. They want very apparent results, so they choose those karma. They are interested in things in this world, so they take up to only those activities. That Bhagavan said in just the previous shloka, 12th shloka. Shipram hi manushe loke siddhim vindati siddhir bhavati karmaja. So they chose only where there is a kshipra phala, quick results. They choose that. Bhagavan said that. Because Bhagavan has given us the free will. Bhagavan has given us the infrastructure, and Bhagavan has given us the free will also. Both Bhagavan has given. How nice, right? And we have to make the best use of it. And you're not left to lose. And you're not left alone. You have the Shastra with you. And you have the infrastructure also with you. And you have the Shastra with you if you take up to Shravana. If you don't take up to Shravana, then the Shastra's support is not there. So here, in this shloka, when he says, Bhagavan says, Chaturvarnyam, Maya Srishtam, these 4 varnas, Varnyam, so Varna, 4 ashrama and 4, when it is just Chaturvarnam, that is different. Here, Chaturvarnyam means all that is connected to the 4 varnas, which means the 4 ashramas also. Just a quick recap, what are they? 4 varnas are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. We'll see now the details are coming, and you should expand your understanding on these ones with the details which are coming up. Then also the 4 ashrama, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa, right? So these 4 varnas and 4 ashramas, Bhagavan This he calls it as an infrastructure. It is my creation. Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam. And good and this infrastructure may not be taken up by everybody, but you will see that everybody in some way or other, it is a categorization. It is not something Bhagavan is, as I told, Bhagavan has given us a free will, and we can always do something more than our capacity. That is there always. So we'll see all that. So guna karma vibhagashah. This is where Bhagavan, although he says maya srishtam, this is my creation, and we would say Bhagavan says guna karma vibhagashah, and which means what? Vibhagashah is all the categorization, and categorization in terms of what? Karma vibhagashah, in terms of all the activities one can take up to, right? In an office, not everybody can be the manager, not everyone can be the CEO, not everyone can be an hourly employee. Not everybody can think that it's a very tiresome job. I'm taking my job home. My mind is also bogged down. I'm a manager, but I want to work hourly and only work for 8 hours and forget about my job once I go home. And that a CEO of the company, the general manager, those people, they cannot afford to think like that. An employee can think like that. He would want to finish and go. So there are different categories, right? Technicians and whatnot, right? So somewhere you need more hands and legs, somewhere you need more brain, and somewhere in some of the areas you need more emotional help also. So all this, everything is involved. People all have different skills. So and then people want to that karma vibhaga. It is based on their guna, right? Guna. It is based on their guna. So Bhagavan says based on the guna, based on the desires, based on the vasana, based on what they want, or based on what they desire, and over time. So Bhagavan has a good account of all that, and based on that, with all care, Bhagavan gives this categories which can be chosen. And if Bhagavan's blessings is there, you may be born in that category also. So that is why we don't believe that this is just chosen. We believe that Bhagavan's grace is there, and someone may be born. If somebody is born in a, say, Brahmin family, we assume that this fellow, hopefully he learned some puja part and all that, and hopefully he can do some homa and whatnot, and he can do some rituals, and hopefully I can take his help. That is how someone else would want to approach. I'm busy doing my business, or I'm busy ruling the kingdom, so I want to pay. So that person may think I want to pay. I want to patronize temples and all that, and they would go like that, right? So you can see that different people have different gunas. Based on that, the karma vibhaga is there. So based on guna, karma vibhaga. Okay, and tasya kartara vibhima. This is the thing. And Bhagavan, if you have created all this creation, and then you also say that you have categorized, and you also say that means you are just becoming two, and so one you are becoming one who is extremely accountable, and so you better you'll have a lot of kartrutva, you'll have a lot of doership. It will all end up burdening you. It will all be on your shoulders, and all these things. Then Bhagavan says, for all this, Bhagavan says, tasya kartaram. The second line in the shloka, tasya kartaram apimam. Even if it is all within my creation, tasya kartaram apimam. I am the karta. Vidhi akartaram abhyam. Vidhi, may you know what? Akartaram. So tasya karta, I am the karta, but you understand me to be what? Akarta. And not only akarta, I am also avyayam. Avyayam means there is no, as you just now described, as I just now described, that there's so much kartrutva, so much baggage, and the baggage is going to have its own effect on me. That effect is not there. No effect. That is what avyayam means. No vyayam. There is no kshina. There is no depletion, there is no decrement in what I am in reality. My glory doesn't get affected. That is Bhagavan's statement. We have to look into why this Vaishamya. Vaishamya is what? Why this difference is Bhagavan? Why all these categories? Bhagavan says, as I told you before, that is also coming up in the Bhashya. That's why I'm bringing it again. And when I bring it again, you can see that this Vaishamya is based on uh, Guna Bhagena. The Guna Karma Vibhaga is the key for you. This Vaishamya, these differences, it is based on your own Guna. Everybody, they say, right, is born in this country. Every country, they say, everyone has got some inherent skills and qualities. And they say someone is, visual, someone is audio visual. I need a form. I cannot just listen and understand. I need something in front of me. So people, they say they have different skills. They are born with different skills. They say they nurture different skills. So this seed, you come with the seed. That seed is janmantara. For several janmas, this is accumulated. And based on that, you have certain desires. So based on your guna, karma vibhaga. So this, having said this several times, now let us see how this category is, how these categories are there. As we said, the categories, 4 categories are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, right? So this is one kind of categorization. When you categorize, that itself means you want to analyze. So when you want to analyze a certain virus, you have to bring it to a certain category. Okay, this is this kind of a virus. This has got spikes, virus with spikes. So you bring it first to a certain category and then you analyze, right? So the way the intent of categorization is to analyze and understand. So here sattva. So what is this sattvika? What is brahmana? Who is brahmana? Sattvikasya sattva pradhanasya. The pradhana. So you see, before we go into the categorization, we should know the sattva, another category called sattva, rajas, and tamaha. Sattva is that nature to know, to understand, and there's a subtlety involved in sattva. In rajas, rajaha, there's not so much subtlety involved, but there's a desire to do, accomplish, serve without expectation, and law and order, to see that everything is in order and put effort towards that. So this kind of a doing is involved. This kind of a seed to do is involved. And there is a raja guna is representing all this. And then the tamo guna is neither doing, nor understand, nor neither doing nor knowing. So we want to retire sometimes, right? At least at night, we don't, as Swami Pratikbodhanji will beautifully, as a joke, he would say, we don't go every night, we don't go to sleep thinking, oh no, today also I need to sleep. This is not I want to do. This is not what I want to do every day. Why won't I not, be free from this desire to sleep? We don't say like that, right? So everybody needs some tamaha. There should be a break, like this holiday season break you're having right now. You need a break. That's why some companies, they forcefully give you a break, because they know once you take a break, you come back with so much freshness. So tamaha is also required. So these are the tamaha is what? As I told you, no desire to do, no desire to know. Raja says more desire to do and less desire to know, but more desire to do, which is also required. And then when the emergency workers, they should all just be ready on the toes. Fire people, and emergency workers. They cannot sit and think, is there really a fire there? And last time they said, but nothing was there. They cannot sit and analyze and then decide to come and serve, right? So we want all these gunas in the right proportion. Now here, Brahmana, Satvika Pradhanam. The Sattva Guna, the desire to know is Pradhana. That is why you see Brahmanas are usually these days, they are little big because the desire to know is more than desire to do. And so then they have Shamaha. Shamaha is what? They are desired to have some Shamaha. The Brahmanas, and they have the desire to Shamaha. Antakarana, they want to have some control over their mind. They want to have, I won't say use the word control, they want to have some say over the mind. They want to, this desire to think before you act, to analyze before you act. Even Arjuna wanted what? He is a Kshatriya by birth, but in this war, he wants to analyze. And that too where? He wants to analyze only the battlefield. He didn't find a better time. He could have analyzed before coming, right? So first he wanted to fight. So that is a rajas there. And now after coming to the battlefield, he wants to do some analysis. Come on, Bhagavan, let us first decide if we really want to do this battle, right? This kind of a thing came up in his mind. So Brahmanas have this Shama, Dhamma, some Indriya Nigraha. They should be able to express some say over their senses also. And so they have to sit before the Havan and then do with so much Shraddha and so much Titiksha, so much patience. They should control their senses and keep doing the Havan, long Havan, Vajapaya, Ashwamedha, all those yagas. And that is, the Tapasarya is involved. So Brahmana is, there is some Shama, which is, there is a say, there's a desire to have relative say over the mind, the desire to have relative say over the body and senses, and the desire to take up to austerities, tapascharya. When I say austerity, is half of the people will run away. That kind of a tapascharya. There used to be a category of Brahmins called Unja Vritti Brahmana in the south of India, maybe in other parts of the country also. So they have to run the patashala, they have to teach the students for long hours. And then towards the evening, they would go to the field where this farmers would have pounded they would have hit the grain to the floor along with the crop to collect the paddy, and there will be some leftover there. So this Brahmana, after taking up to tapasarya all day, he has to go there and he has to collect whatever is left after the farmer has removed everything, and then he has to pound it, remove the husk, get the rice, cook and eat only that much. Brahmanas, this kind of austerities, they are called Unja Vritti Brahmanas. Some people have taken up to that. I know. So this is the tapasarya. So then they take up to karmas, the actions related to this kind of desires. Then, so there you see only sattva pradhana. Sattva is predominant. The desire to know, desire to teach, desire to learn, that is mostly there. Then there is sattva pradhana, the second category. We're going to the second category, which is what? Kshatriya. So what about Kshatriya? Sattva upasarjana. Sattva is there subservient to Rajaha. Sattva is there subservient to Rajas. Pradhana is Rajas, the desire to do. That is Pradhana. The desire to know is backing up. The knowledge has to back up what they're doing, but they are more into doing and accomplishing. Leaders are like that, right? Then Shaurya, Tejaha, Prabhuddha, Bharudani. So they take up to karmas connected to that. And so that is example will be, for example, Vishwamitra was a Kshatriya. And then he was very enticed by the profession of Vasishtha, who was a Brahmana. So Vasishtha is the Kamadhenu with him, which is providing everything. So Vishwamitra was, wow, this kind of a Kamadhenu can be obtained by so much tapasarya. So let me take up to that. So he took up to Brahmana Vritti, and he had to suffer a lot. He spent several thousands of years, they say, In between, Menaka came and went, and he fell for her. He fell for her, and all these things happened. And we had Shakuntala and Dushyanta, Shakuntala is all stories. Well, it's a lot of tragedy in those stories because Vishwamitra didn't want Shakuntala, and the Menaka who gave birth to Shakuntala, she's a Devata Apsara. She just came to destroy the tapasharya of Vishwamitra, and she left also. So then she was successful, she left. Shakuntala was brought up by some other Rishi, and it goes like that, right? So Kanva Rishi, Shakuntala was. So what I'm trying to say is, so much hardship is involved if you want to, if it is not easy to change a vritti like that. That is why even Arjuna was advised by Bhagavan Sri Krishna to take up to what he is good at, which is being a Kshatriya. And there is a story where Arjuna will be in the forest and he'll be still having his bow and arrow. Our Bhagavan Shivji came to Arjuna, and Arjuna was doing puja for Shiva, and Shivji appeared. And still Arjuna wanted to fight with Shivji, not knowing that he is Shivji, of course. But that vritti, first thing is to fight. That was there, and they take up to those challenges. Very difficult challenges they also take up. Then Tama Upasajana Raja Pradhana. So as we said, we just said for this Kshatriya, Rajas is Pradhana, subserved by Sattva. And there is also a possibility where Rajas is Pradhana, but subserved by Tamas. So Rajas is, to do, and here the doing doesn't involve so much of knowing. In the sense you want to know the tricks of the trader of doing and accomplishing a business or something, but you don't really, you try to bypass the rules, for example. Not that you don't follow the rules, you see how to, minimize the difficulties and get there, rather than, trying to see, trying to take up to some hardship, even though taking up the hardship may be, strictly in line with dharma, you would like to find a leeway. So that they are the Vaishyas. We have them, and because of them only all the businesses are there. Otherwise, with all this red tapeism, they say, right, and everything, you won't have so many businesses in India and in other places. But they have to find a way out. Yena kena prakarena. Some way or other, they want to, see profit. And they employ also. They are also required for the society. They do a lot of employment, right? They solve a lot of unemployment problem. So Vaishyas are also required. So they are the Vaishyas where, what is that? Raja Pradhanam and Tama. Raja is Pradhanam, Tama is Upasajana. Tama is subservient, not Sattva subservient, Tama subservient. And so if this, suppose if there is only Sattva subservient, if there is no Raja Pradhanam without Tama subservient, there won't be any commercial, any businesses, there won't be any merchants, and they won't be there. Everybody would be like a leader wanting to only govern. That doesn't work, right? We can see right away there's a big void. So we need this also. Then for all of these Brahmana, Kshatriya and Vaishya, we need people who can do service. They say hospitality is a big business, they say, right? Because what they do, they only serve. Service. There are some businesses which are called service, and then there is also this, they call this body shopping, in the sense what? They provide people who can serve to different businesses. You just have to enroll there if you are skilled, if you are with whatever your trade and skill, and they will find something for you. So all these people who want to just serve, this is the biggest category. Many of us want to just do that only. Just want to serve and get away, and then sit in front of the computer or TV and then relax, right? So that is a category where Tama is Pradhana, Shudra category. Tama is Pradhana, and just like Brahmana Sattva was Pradhana, here Tama is the only main vritti. Okay, so this is how the categories are, and as we can see, In our own lifetime, we can fall in all these different categories at some point or the other, right? When there is an adharma happening in a way, in a big scale, we all feel like we are Kshatriya. We want to be Kshatriyas. We want to do something about it, right? So there's so much corruption, and then we all want to, or against that, and so likewise. And so here, as after having told so much about the different categories, so the point here is all these are within the Srishti of Bhagavan. So anyone you take up, and any mix up of these things you take up, it is still within the Srishti of Bhagavan. I created these, and then I know there is these categories will be valid until the end of time. And people may say that these things are not relevant these days. No, don't say that. If you want to say, you can say this much. All these categories, all that means what? It only means there is a list of to be done karmas, as Puja Swamiji would say, Vihita karma. So all the Vihita karmas, Bhagavan's Srishti is there. That these things need to be done. When you feel that something needs to be done, then you are following Bhagavan's track for your progress. And also this is only especially for Manushya Loka, because here only, as we saw in the previous Loka, Kshipram Bhavati Siddhi. This man, the human beings have to take up to karma, and they should make progress. And then that means, for that karma, they have to earn the qualification, earn the yogyata, adhikaritvam, all that they have to do. So this whole infrastructure, this whole process is only for specially given for Manushya Loka. Devadis, they cannot do any yajna. Indra cannot say, I'm going to stop work, I'm going to take 5 days off, do a big homa, Ashwamedha Yaga. I want to do Ashwamedha Yaga. People in the earth, they're getting benefited. So let me do some Ashwamedha Yaga. Indra cannot stop his duties and try to do some Yaga as a king could do in the earth. So this whole Chaturvarnya relevance is for the people of this world. It is an infrastructure for these people here. In fact, Indra can come and disturb your Yaga. You see the Purana, Indra would, if you do so much of Yaga, Yajna Yaga, because you are in line with what Bhagavan, infrastructure and all that, then Indra can come and disturb your Yaga, but he won't himself take up to all these Yagas and all that. So likewise, all Devatas also. So this Chaturvarna is for the human beings, for their own benefit, for their accomplishment of their results in an orderly and timely fashion. Okay, so for that reason. And now the main question is the second line in the sloka. What is second line in the sloka? So Bhagavan, if you are saying that, this whole is four varna, 4 ashrama, Bhagavan, if you say that you have created those, then you have to provide for all this infrastructure. Then suppose, if you provide, then we don't see that everybody is happy also doing what they're doing, right? Everybody wants to do something else. They see themselves as more happy if they are in someone else's shoes sometimes, right? That too also sometimes that only complicates the whole issue. So then Bhagavan, then this karma of everyone, and then there's a phala. So once the infrastructure is provided, once the roads are constructed, road is an infrastructure. The government lays the road, beautiful freeway, they lay a brand new freeway using the most modern technology. And they say you could go in this freeway, there's a special material, and you could go and reach somewhere with so much less time and so much less noise also, and all that. And then there's an accident happening. Who has to take care of the accident? Government only. So likewise, Bhagavan, you provided all this infrastructure, so you are more responsible now for all whatever happens out of all this. There'll be a Punya Papa Phala for you also. Punya Papa Phala will be there, and based on the Punya Papa Phala, there'll be Bhoga. There'll be Papa Phala will give a bad dukkha, sukha dukkha will come, Bhagavan, if you put all that blame on Bhagavan, Bhagavan says, no. यद्यपि मया सव्यवहारेण तस्य कर्मणः संव्यवहारेण तस्य कर्मणः कर्तारमपि I am the कर्ता अपि, but in reality, paramartatah, in reality, I am akarta. This is very simple. Don't think Bhagavan is washing his hands of all the responsibility. No. Just Bhagavan says, kartrutva is absent. Kartrutva is absent. That, sense of doership. The sense that doership. Just like an actor can take up to the role of a beggar, and he is doing that role. He is acting as the beggar. The karma is there of being a beggar for a certain amount of time for the sake of getting a salary, 1 crore or 100 million, 10 million or whatever that salary, just to play this role of a beggar. The kartrutvam is not there. I am beggar. And all the shoka and moha, dukkha, all the sadness, all the sorrow associated with the beggarliness, that is not there. That is possible, right? Now you see the possibility. That is how Bhagavan is also. Kartrutva is not there. And kartrutva is not there. And because the doership doing, but no doership based on taking myself to be this body, this mind, this senses, and all that. That doership is not. In the snake, when you see rope, what is the doership of the rope in doing the snake? Zero. No doership. But in a way, rope is the cause for the snake. Rope is an unchanging cause. It doesn't change, but it doesn't change into rope, but you see rope. Because some changes happened here. Your avidya. And then your memory is projecting. And this is the rope, this is a snake, be careful. So memory is there, and the avidya, the ignorance goes and looks for what it could be, and then out of ignorance it comes up with the memory of snake and says this is snake. So you create snake, really. So this rope doesn't create snake. It doesn't have the doership, at least it doesn't have the doership of snake. Right? Likewise, you can give several examples. So this is very important to understand. And this is not about Bhagavan washing his hands and all that. Because Bhagavan is giving the hope. In reality, about your reality also, Bhagavan is going to say it is in the same line only. If this is not the case for Bhagavan, it can never be the case for you. Right? So this is a very important shloka in that way. Now let's go to the next shloka. Having seen this so much, right? We had a long discussion on this. Now the next shloka. Wow, this is a shloka which says Bhagavan. See, right away Bhagavan is saying, and why is it the case? Tasya kartaram abhimam vidhi akartaram aviyam. Aviyam means no samsara for Bhagavan. No dukkha and shoka moha connected to samsara. And what is the reason? That what can you explain that more? I already explained, but here Bhagavan himself is coming up with a beautiful shloka, and he has his own way of presenting it, which is even more useful in addition to what we learned. So that is the next shloka. Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale sprha iti mam yobhijanati karma bhir nasabadhyate. Bhagavan says, karmani mam na limpanti. Karmas don't touch me. Actions don't touch me. Not only Bhagavan's own actions, even our actions don't touch Bhagavan. That is why Bhagavan is always smiling. Dakshinamurti is always smiling. All our devatas are very smiling because our murkata is not affecting them. Karmani mam na limpanti, that doesn't affect. So that means there's no limpanti. The karma And karma, the sambandha with the karma is not there. And we'll see what is that sambandha. Very nicely, we'll see that. And karma phale me na spruha. I should have a spruha, I should have a longing for a certain karma phala, and for that longing, for that hankering, I should have a lack of something, I should feel the lack of something, right? So this kind of a connection with the karma I don't have, Bhagavan is saying. Karma phala means na spruha. Iti yaha, and Bhagavan, look at it, how kind and how beautifully he is saying. What is the phala? Bhagavan, you keep saying about this, about your karta and also not a karta. And this karma you are doing, they don't affect you. You say all that. What is in it for me? Bhagavan says, Itimam yopi janati. Whoever knows this, yopi janati, karma bhir nasa badhyate. The karmas don't bind that person also. The same way, we have to understand every detail is something which can firm up our knowledge, make us that steadfast one who is a steadfast knowledge. Because you saw in the second chapter that man, that jnani is one whose knowledge is steadfast. So you're all making the progress. So the knowledge is getting firmed up. So itimam yobi janati, whoever knows me to be like this, karma bihi, he is also not affected by the actions he takes up to. In the sense, the shoka moha, all those affection won't be there. That's what Bhagavan says. So it's a big hope. So you can also work, you can also do with that same freedom with which Bhagavan has been doing. Just the knowledge is what matters. Seeing how it can be is what. The know-how is what is all about. So actions, just a translation, actions do not affect me. There's no longing with reference to the results of action for me. The one who knows me clearly in this way is not bound by actions. So look at the sequence for us. I quickly want to finish this. Okay, we have time. Yes. We are to 7:30, right? So look at the sequence here. And so Bhagavan says, Namam karmani limpanti, right? Those karmas, those huge amount of effort and work I have done towards the entire creation and all that I have given away to you in terms of all those categories and all that, whatnot I have told, those karma na limpanti, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't limpanti, lepana, it doesn't really lepana in the sense, it doesn't really bind me. Bind me. So now, what is a binding? What do you mean by it doesn't bind me? Then he explains what is binding. So binding, you see, dehadi arambhakatvena. So for us, our karma is binding. So that is why what happens is, based on this binding karma, there is a binding papa and punya, and based on this binding papa and punya, we are bound to be, and based on this binding papa and punya, and based on our desires also, unfulfilled desires. So this combination is there. Binding papa punya is what we deserve, decides what we deserve, and then always there is a desire more than what we deserve, right? So that is that the vasanas are also there. So all these are combined, and then what Bhagavan has to do? He has to give a manifestation for that. So Bhagavan says, I'm not going to keep you like that with all your desires. I'm going to give you a beautiful new sharira. And by the way, you might have so much desires, but what you deserve is only this sharira, only here. And once you're born here, you can exhaust these karmas, these desires, and then you can make progress. So I know what is best for you, and based on that, I'm giving you this. So so you see how it is all binding, right? And it all started with what? It all started with our ignorance. Why? Because they host me. There's a buddhi saying that I am this deha, I am this mind, I am only this much, I need to become that much, right? So this ignorance is there. I'm only this much is the ignorance. I'm small, I'm insignificant, I'm non-accepting, and I need to accomplish this to be, more accepting, self-acceptance problems and all that. What I'm trying to say is we address it psychologically also, but I'm just what I'm trying to say is there is a karma, based on all this we do some karma, and that karma will have to, it is bound to give us some result, karma phala. And in terms of papa and punya, then the deha. Now look at this sequence. Deha vimanam, ahanta, mamata, me and mine, deha vimanam, and deha vimana uddisya, deha vimana preritaya. That is the impetus, and then this karma and karma phala. And karma phala is what? Ultimate karma phala is what? Punur deha. Again another deha. Ultimate karma phala, your final karma phala will be another deha, better deha. Right? Another deha. So you are bound by this. Suppose if in the same sequence you just keep the karma and say there is no deha vimana, because Ishvara is what? Sarvajna. When Ishvara is Sarvajna, remove the deha vimana part. He knows what he is. He is not, he is Ananta, he is Nitya Shuddha Mukta Buddha Swabhava Swarupa. He is a Mukta Swarupa, he is free from Deha Vimana and all that afflictions of the ignorance. So then you remove that part, but you keep karma. The avidya before karma is not there. But karma, Bhagavan does karma. And when the avidya before that is not there, that karma will not result in the same karma phala as human beings are suffering. So there is no karma phala in fact. So that is the sequence. Just in the sequence, dehabhimana is not there. And because dehabhimana is not there for the karma, the karma phala is not the same as we are experiencing. Which means what? What did I say about the final karma phala? The final karma phala I said is another body, right? So that another body is not, Bhagavan is not going to be born again just because of his karma. So this way, na limpanti, this way it is not going to affect Bhagavan. You see now what the na limpanti would mean? The na limpanti would mean it won't affect you by giving you another body based on your karma, based on dehabhimana, based on the ahankara. Ahankara I should explain as dehabhimana. Dehabhimana and those side effects of dehabhimana in terms of shoka and moha and all that. So that is why namek spruha trishna. So there is no karma phala, the spruha is also not there. Right? So karma, when Bhagavan does also, there will be an effect of the karma for the srishti. There is no spruha of, oh, it should have been like this and it should have not been like that. So Bhagavan is always perfect in his, because he is sarvajna, he is all-knowing, all his karma and the results are also always perfect. And there is no triha, there is no longing, hankering of, it should have been like this and that and all that. Whereas for us, what is that? Samsari. For samsari, what is that? Aham karta, abhimata hai. Karmasu spruha tat paleshu. So we have the karma, I am the doer, that attitude is there. And then even if somebody is, cooking, if you really take, and this Bhagavan, Surya Bhagavan is involved for all the aushadis, for all those ingredients which you use for cooking. Then Agni Bhagavan is involved as a fire for cooking. So, and the cooking is one thing. Even if you sit in front of computer and do, there is all Bhagavat Vibhuti is there. But we still think Aham Karta, I am the doer, right? Abhimana. Then I need this phala, the spruha, the attachment to the karma, the spruha with the karma phala is also there. These things are absent for Bhagavan. And Bhagavan says, iti evam. So what for me? Bhagavan, if it is absent for you, that only makes me even more longing for that kind of a evolvement in my own life. So how is it going to help me? And so if I know someone is crorepati, how is it going to help me becoming crorepati? Like we can say like that. So Bhagavan says, iti mam yobi janati. And when you know myself to be like this, Bhagavan says, you're also free. Then when you know myself to be like this, what does it mean? Atmatvena janati. That Bhagavan is non-separate from me. That Bhagavata, that glory of Bhagavan, that is actually also my glory in reality. I'm not separate from that Bhagavan. There's no Bhagavan, there's no two things like, there's Bhagavan and then I'm also here suffering, and then I have to keep working and get there in terms of doing. There's knowing involved that your reality is also this only. You also play several roles, and you can also be free from those roles if you have this kind of a samarpana buddhi when you perform action. If you have to start with that samarpana buddhi when you perform action, and on the phala prasada buddhi, if you have, and in the while you have that in when you do all the karma, and in addition to that pursue this knowledge how you in reality you are like that, then it's going to work for you also. Okay, so tasma tasyapi na dehadi agamam bhavati ityartha. So for you also, so then what will happen to you? So what is this karma being nasa badhyate? We'll finish with that. When karma, we can do one more, I think. So when the karma is not going to be binding you, what does it mean? You have to again follow the same sequence. What is that? So you will also be then doing karma without the maudhya, without the maudhyam, without the moha of taking yourself to be just a deha and taking yourself to be just this much only. That ajnana, without the ajnana, you will also, without the deha vimana, right? Without the deha mein aham buddhi. Deha vimana is what? Deh mein aham buddhi. Right? Deh mein aham buddhi. The aham buddhi in this body. Without that, when you perform karma, and without that, when you perform karma, it is not something, from tomorrow onwards, I'm going to reduce my aham buddhi and the deha. Please, that is not the way. That is not our Puja Swamiji's teaching. And that deha mein aham buddhi vastavatah nasti. In the rope, snake buddhi is not there in reality. Rope cannot say that, wow, cannot say everybody is seeing snake in me. And so I should have the snake buddhi. I should take myself to be a snake. And then after some time, the rope cannot say that I should now practice to be a rope because nobody is around and nobody is taking me to a snake anymore. So I will slowly become a rope. No, that is not the way, right? Vastavata, the snake was never there. The snake was never there. This dehosmi, deh mein aham buddhi is a mistake, is an error right from the beginning, from anadikal. You have your blessed self. You are free from the afflictions of the body, the birthday and expiry day of the body. You are free from it from time immemorial. That is why we are able to come back again and again. That is why we are able to take several bodies again and again, because you yourself are free. Body comes and goes. You have not been affected by that from time immemorial. So that has to be seen. So that is why I said, what you have to do is this much. Ishvara arpana buddhi. What you have to do is karma yoga. What you have to do is not that tomorrow onwards I'm going to practice this. Being free from deha vimana, being free from deha mein aham buddhi se, I should try slowly meditating on that. No. What you take up is only karma yoga, samarpana buddhi. There itself, you are giving up your deha vimana to some extent, but in a very effective way. That helps in preparing your mind, and so that you see the fact of yourself to be free. The fact is not something you have to work and gain. Then if it is to be something worked and gained, then it would mean you're agreeing to the fact. Then you're agreeing, you're saying it was not there before. Right? So if something was not there before, if your freedom is something you have to earn, and if it was not there before, then what is the guarantee it will be also there after? How much effort you have to put to maintain that? So all is a problem. Once some ignorance is there, then everything will be a problem, and you'll go through a cycle of guilt and all that, spiritual guilt, one more guilt. So please, so this is something to know. Atmatvena abhijanati. Bhagavan Shankaracharya Maharaj says, Atmatvena abhijanati. Naham karta. Name karma palas priha. Naham karta is not something to be practiced. It is something to know. Because it has been your reality all through from time immemorial. That is why it is about knowing. So then dehadi arambha, then what happens? So with that thing, when you do karma, coming back to the sequence, about yourself now, we talked about the sequence about Ishvara, we talked about the sequence about an ignorant person. Now with this knowledge, what is happening? The same dehame aham buddhi nasti. It is not there. Karma you can do very happily, and finally the karma phala of another deha based on your papa and punya, another deha will not be there, because for who would the deha come? That person to who the deha could have been given is an enlightened being now. He is not available. He is not available in terms of his desires and papa and punya, especially in terms of his desires. Especially in terms of his desires, he is not available. So it is only vyartha. Bhagavan won't do something which is not very useful, it doesn't make any sense. So there is no deha for them. In the sense, they are free from the afflictions of deha. Take it like that. From the afflictions of deha here and now and going forward also, like our Swamiji. So this is the details of this shloka, and let us quickly enter into the next shloka and see how far we can go. And Bhagavan, okay, then there's a question can be asked, Bhagavan, after all this, what you're saying, there's no spruha, there's no sambandha with the karma for yourself. For jnani also, there's no sambandha. And if that being the case, how significant is the karma itself? If there is no going to be any connection in reality. How significant is the karma itself? Do I have to take up to karma? So, no, you have to. Why? Because look at this shloka. You have to take up to karma. We only are talking about the kartrutva, the problem of doership. We didn't talk about the problem of karma, right? So the doership, like a mumukshu, like a jnani, you can be free from the doership and take up to what needs to be done in line with our ancestors. You will see that. Evam jnatva kritam karma. The next shloka. Purvairapi mumukshubhihi kuru karmaiva tasmatvam purvaih purvataram kritam. The 15th shloka in this 4th chapter. So, purvaihi mumukshubhihi, again now here Bhagavan is bringing our ancestors, our wise men in our lineage, the great glorious Bharata Vamsha. Purvaihi mumukshubhihi api evam jnatva karma kritam. Hey, Arjuna, know the secret. You may not know, I know, I've been seeing it from time immemorial. Lot of jnanis, lot of mumukshus, they have with this knowledge, they have been very effectively, efficiently, at the same time happily, independently, they are able to perform their karma. Evam jnatva, having known this. Knowing what? Naham karta, name karma spruha. Knowing naham karta, name karma spruha. Not by practicing naham karta. Okay, knowing. Evam jnatva karma kritam. Tasmat purvaihi purvataram kritam karma evam tvam kuru. Therefore, you also, Arjuna, take up to those karmas in line with your ancestors, and please you also take up to that with this knowledge. Knowing me in this manner, even seekers of ancient times performed action. Therefore, indeed, perform action just as it was done by those who came before in the ancient past. So this is the translation of this shloka. We can quickly look into this shloka. So here, over the Purvaja, our Purvajas are really wise. They were seeking moksha. So in the same line, evam, evakara, then you also kuru karma eva tasmat tvam. Kuru karma eva. So that is the karma eva kuru. Karma eva. That evakara is what? Don't sit idly. Don't sit without doing anything. And don't think that you can excuse yourself by taking up to sannyasa. So either of those, don't even think about that. Please do. And if you do, suppose if you are a sadhaka, if you are one who is a mumukshu, then this becomes a sadhana. Whatever you are doing becomes a sadhana. And what is the result of this sadhana? It gives you antakarana shuddhi. It prepares your mind. It makes you more cheerful. The prasannata is there in all your transactions. So this prasannata, with this, when you do, you change everyone's life also with your prasannata, with your prasada buddhi. Atma shuddhi will be there. And suppose if you're then for the jnanis, what? For loka sangrahartam, for the benefit of the humanity. What is the benefit of humanity? Like Bhagavan Sri Krishna, the jnanis, they would still continue karma without the kartritva, and the san marga, they will lay the path. They will lay the path for us to follow and get there. So that is why our tradition is all still live, because of all the Mahatmas who are jnanis. At the same time, they have taken up to karma as and when required. So Purvaihi, Janaka Divihi. Example always is what? Janaka and those great kings. For Arjuna, those are the examples. And if you say that Janakadi, one king you are mentioning, then Bhagavan says Purvaif, Purva Taram. Not just Janaka, Purva Taram means for all, it has been a great parampara. Purva Taram means it is a pramana. What I'm saying, I have been seeing this. So Purva Taram Kritam. And you also take up to something similar. And na adhuna tanam kritam. And some people, they say everything is so inspiring. The Shastra is the problem. I can do what I want to do. I can do what I'm good at. I can do what I like and all that. Yes, let that be a part. But when you want to refer to if it is right, if it is within, then always take help of the Shastra which is available, of your ancestors. If not Shastra, your ancestors. How my mother would have done in the same situation. How my father would have done in the same situation. How my grandfather had done in a similar situation. How my grandmother would have done. How some elders would have done. So for all the puja and everything, what we are doing, we always look to emulate. And in fact, now whatever we are doing is always something less than what even our ancestors did, our own known ancestors, right? So that way we can always go back and look. With this, I am completing this session of this sloka also, number 15. We will come to the next few slokas in next class. Very important slokas, especially the sloka is what is now they're going to be listing of what all we can do, what all the karmas, and how the know-how of karma, categorization of karma in a different way, in a very very relevant way. It's all going to come up. We'll see that next session. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.